The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Y'all started from PBS Kids, what you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this part out the way. For the sake of comment engagement, I want you to tell the truth. Did you know that Nickelodeon aired 16 at one point? Because a lot of people didn't even know. Tell the truth, comment down below. Comment, tell the truth, it's okay, don't be shy. Because I remember when they aired it. Do you? Hey y'all, it's Harriana back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana. Welcome to or welcome back to, okay, let me mute that. Like I was saying, welcome to or welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harry Hood's pirate ship. I'm the captain, you are not my first mate, and I got no first mate because you wanna know why. Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody's worthy of being the first mate, but hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana. Welcome to Nick November. This is the series where I do 10 straight days of Nickelodeon content around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. Next month we will be doing Disney December, and I'm so fucking stressed out of it. I'm so excited. But I like to make content based on nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Now today I most definitely want to talk a bit more about 16 because 16 is something I've been wanting to talk more about on my channel because it was literally one of my favorite shows growing up. It helped me through so much of like the difficult shit that I was dealing with at the time, with being like brutalized and whatnot, like not to get into any of the sad shit. But 16 is a show that I deeply did appreciate growing up, and mainly that has to do with the fact that I haven't seen anything like this in like Western animation, because a lot of the things that was handled in 16 I'd say that I'd seen in like anime and whatever, but Western animation, this movie, not this movie, well 16 did have a movie, but this show was pretty like game changing because in Western animation we don't necessarily have teen shows, we don't necessarily have teen animated shows. More specifically, anime, they have a whole bunch of that shit over there. It's actually very much oversaturated and it's annoying as hell, but here we are severely lacking. Anytime we talk about 16, it gets warped into all those Canadian teen animated shows like Total Drama and Stoked and Detentionaire, and then I'd also say that they throw Regular Show into that bunch too, because I felt like at the age of when Regular Show came out, I was kind of at the age that was like perfect for it, because I knew if I was younger and I watched this shit, I wasn't gonna get it. But before we go any further with me talking about 16, I just want to say that this video is going up on Friday, which means it is the second day of the Black Friday sale. Everything on my website is 35% off. I have added tons of new bottoms. I have added 2 jackets, including the one that I'm wearing right now. It is a Miraculous Ladybug akumatized jacket. Y'all see the symbol? I got that. Oh, I ate with that. I did that. I ate, I fear. Let me not say that. But everything is 35% off this entire weekend. You do not need a code or anything like that. Discount will be applied at checkout. When you go on the website, it's gonna have the regular price, but when you actually add it to the cart, it'll be discounted then. So yeah, very much appreciate it. It will mean a lot to me, but I understand. Honestly, if you're watching the videos with the ads on, that's enough for me. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And now let's continue on with the video, and I'll shut up with my self-promotion. 16 is a show that introduced a lot of people when it comes to the subject of like Canadian film and television and animation. I wouldn't say 16, actually 16 was really like my introduction to that, because it was one of the first shows that I can recall where I remembered that it fully was like a Canadian show. There were other shows that I watched growing up that were Canadian series, but this was the one I kind of knew off the back, like once, like pretty early, that it was from Canada. I remember the first time I ever saw 16, it was when it aired on Nickelodeon, but I don't necessarily remember it lasting long on Nickelodeon. But even watching the show then, I felt like I was too young for it. There was just so much that was going on in it that I didn't necessarily truly understand. And I remember 16 was taken off the air of Nickelodeon not long after that. Not necessarily surprised, mainly for like numerous reasons that I'm going to get into later, but anybody that knows that not long after 16 aired on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network started airing Total Drama Island. They aired like the first season of Total Drama Island, I'd say in probably 2008, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know the first season came out actually in 2007, but it didn't necessarily air in America until 2008. But the first season of Total Drama Island aired there, and the next thing you know, that is when it kind of like set it off for where we ended up getting an influx of these Canadian animated teen series that people continue to watch. Because of how successful Total Drama Island was when it aired over here in America, the next season ended up coming out, and then the next season, the next season, the next season, and now Total Drama is just kind of like this pop culture phenomenon, even though it has its issues. Total Drama is a chaotic masterpiece that has numerous problems, but I adore it. 16 was also a series that came not too long after that to air on Cartoon Network just as well. Now this show, I'd say that I thought I was grown as hell when I was little when I watched it. Not even fucking joking. I was just so amazed by the fact that it was something new and something different when it came to animation. It didn't necessarily feel like kiddie to me, even though it technically was. But 16 just kind of like felt like a breath of fresh air because it was something different and something that I wasn't necessarily used to seeing when it came to Western animation. And by the way, growing up, I was not allowed to watch like adult cartoons. I most definitely wasn't. The main reason I watched certain shows that young is because I like snuck and watched them, but that wasn't that many. I was not allowed to watch I didn't like Family Guy. I still don't, not really necessarily a biggest fan of Family Guy, but I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons until I got older. There's a lot of these adult animated series that I didn't get to watch, so 16 was kind of like the more out there thing for me. But watching 16 and seeing that Nickelodeon didn't air it for long and they were kind of quick to get it off the air. For those of you guys who don't know, 16 is a show I say that touched on many taboo subjects, and subjects that I wouldn't necessarily say are taboo, but a bit more realistic to the world we live in. Because the way a lot of the characters spoke in real, like in the series, is how a lot of these people that age spoke in real life. Because 16 is very much relatable. A lot of my childhood, I can remember it being similar to the events that happened within that series. But because 16 was something that focused more about like taboo subjects and whatnot, and I'm gonna be honest, there was a lot of creative decisions that happened 16 that I did not agree with. There was a lot of things that happened in this show that I did not particularly like, and I felt like it wasn't necessary for that to be in there. But because of 16 being a show that wasn't afraid to do the fucking most, and like I said, there's problems there, there's a lot of shit there that I don't necessarily agree with, there are episodes of the show that did not air in America. And if anybody has seen the first season of 16, you can sit there and be like, okay, this is the entire energy that the rest of the show is going to give. I don't necessarily remember, or I couldn't really find necessarily much of anything for why Nickelodeon continued to not air 16 on their network, but a lot of what people were saying, it has to do with the fact that they felt like the show was too risque and too inappropriate to be airing on that network. And not talking about Nickelodeon behind the scenes because fuck them people, ill, but I was like, first of all, why couldn't y'all just air this on Nick at Night? Like, it most definitely could have aired on Nick at Night. But anyway, as I said, it's just little things that happen in 16. While I can understand why some of these episodes didn't necessarily air in America, there's certain episodes that didn't air in America for reasons that I feel like are just like, okay, what is wrong with y'all? Because there's an entire episode of 16 about periods, and they refused to air that shit in America. Like, I'm not sure in particular if they didn't air it on Nickelodeon. I wouldn't be surprised, but they most definitely didn't air it on Cartoon Network. It's about periods. Periods. Listen, I made a video about periods back in 2020. What? Was it 2021? No, it was 2022. I made a video back in 2022 about how there's nothing like inappropriate about the subject of periods. Please go watch that. I work hard on it. I'm gonna link it down below. But that shit right there just kind of goes to show you that I don't necessarily think people were ready for a show like 16 to be airing on a channel like that at that time period. Honestly, 16, in my opinion, is very much resemblance of iCarly, but more so Victorious, but also more so Zoe 101 just as well. And it just kind of makes me go like kind of confused, because I was like, y'all had no problem airing all this shit right here, but y'all took 16 off the air. And I honestly just feel like it has to do with that double standard of what people think is like okay when it's live action, but it's actually a problem with animation. And it just goes into the entire stigma of how people just don't take animation seriously or whatever. But I was like, this show wasn't that much different from Victorious. Why did y'all take it off? But like I said, knowing how people feel about the subject of animation and whatnot, it's not necessarily shocking and surprising that it didn't necessarily air along there. Even though I'd say that 16 fit a little bit more on Cartoon Network, because Cartoon Network was doing a bit more on the subject of airing cartoons for like more older people, because a lot of people can sit here and say that Adventure Time kind of had more of that all ages demographic. Regular Show most definitely was a show for teens and young adults. They were, you know, they had Total Drama. Cartoon Network was a bit more fitting when it came to the subject of having 16, but then, you know, Cartoon Network also has like Adult Swim and whatnot. They had the Amazing World of Gumball and whatever that came after 16's run. But I'm just gonna be here honest, there's a lot of things that happened in these 16 episodes that Cartoon Network cut out. I'm not even joking. If people have seen the Canadian version of Total Drama Island, the first season, and then they have seen the American version, the Cartoon Network version, you will see so much shit was edited out. 16 wasn't necessarily edited the way Total Drama was, but there definitely were some scene cuts. There definitely were a lot of dialogue cutouts and changes and whatever. It was noticeable. It wasn't necessarily as noticeable as it was with Cartoon Network. And mind you, ooh, Cartoon Network, Total Drama was like a big game changer when it came to how a lot of us felt towards Western animation and whatnot, because it was something we never seen before. We never seen cartoons speak this kind of way. We never seen cartoons act this kind of way on this one particular network, I'd say. So when we had Total Drama and then we had the introduction of 16 and whatnot, it was just like, this is like a different level of unhinged. And even then, there were a lot of edits that were made in this show that I think were most definitely necessary. Like, there are certain scenes I am glad actually got cut of the American edit of 16. But also, there were just certain things that Cartoon Network liked to cut out often when it came to like Total Drama and just all these Canadian series that I didn't necessarily think was necessary. Like certain word choices that the characters would use. Like literally in Regular Show, they said piss, but I was like, they can't say crap over here. Okay. I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's a bit hypocritical how Nickelodeon had no problem with letting all of these Dan Snyder shows continue to run on the network, but they wanted to go ahead and get rid of 16. Like, we need to have a discussion. We need to talk. And yeah, I wanted to get on here and just talk a little bit more about 16 and why I just kind of feel like it didn't necessarily work out too well when it was on Cartoon Network, and how I felt like it felt a little bit more on Nickelodeon better over there. Like just trying to get my thoughts all together and whatnot. But there isn't even necessarily much to talk about when it comes to 16 being on Nickelodeon, because it's like they never really necessarily told us. A lot of this is just kind of like speculation on why they tried to take it off air. And that's that. 16 honestly just didn't fit over there, if you ask me. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I deeply do appreciate it. Black Friday sale going on now. Like I said, everything is 35% off. And yeah, link to that will be down below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, night, whatever time of the day you choose to watch this. I'm just thankful you watched the video. All right, thank you. Goodbye.